Welcome to Talk Birdie-tome. This is Australia's most popular golf podcast, with former world number 16 Nick O'Hearn, the only player to beat Tiger Woods twice in match play, and tour pro Mark Allen, who played professional golf around the world for 15 years, including a British Open. We're coming from our studio at Titalist and FootJoy headquarters. Titalist is the #1 ball in golf, and FootJoy is the #1 shoe and glove in golf. And thanks to our great partners, Watch My Numbers, the most powerful database golf app in the world. Download from the App Store or Google Play. Ping, as with Nick O'Hearn, will help you play your best. See your local golf shop or professional for a Ping Club fitting. The Golf Clearance Outlet beat everyone's prices. Visit golfclearanceoutlet.com.au for your nearest store. And Better, the fastest and easiest betting app in Australia. Now that's better. Now, from our studio at Titalist and FootJoy headquarters, it's time for Talk Birdie-tome. Here's Nick O'Hearn and Mark Allen.
G'day everybody, eventful week in the world of golf always is. Nick, nice to see you.
You too, Mark.
I'm going to start with the investigation into the top100golfcourses.com.
Ooh, hello. Right
because
off the
there has been something happen this week that made everything change.
Wow.
Actually, there's been a couple of things. One, I've been reliably told that Dan Andrews was not on that list.
Well, you never said he was.
I know, but he was my #1. I was absolutely certain he would be on there because he's very good friends with Michael Clayton, and I thought maybe he's just sticking up for his man.
You haven't said his name, but you have alluded to him.
That's right. So it wasn't Dan. Well, I said, I've got to look for it. They were my suspicions.
Okay.
Because if you don't know, if you're just joining us for the first time, there was a top100golfcourses.com list put out. St Andrews Beach magically made it into the world top 100, and courses like Victoria, another golf course called Peninsula Kingswood North and South,
Royal Adelaide,
Royal Melbourne East. A lot of golf courses did not get in that we all know are in, that are real world top 100. But this one has just lost all credibility with at least me. I can't speak for you, Nick.
Absolutely.
But it's lost a lot of credibility.
No-brainer.
It's lost a lot of credibility. Anyway.
It is good you've said that it's not Dan Andrews because one thing I know about you, Mark, is you'll have a crack at people. You'll have a red-hot crack at people, but you are always prepared to admit if you're not right.
I love not being right.
Yeah.
All right?
So I will give you that.
A lot of people, if you're not right, quite often it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Quite often it's a good thing. Anyway, it's not Dan Andrews. But we must have gone on with it a little bit last week. And I was playing golf at Royal Melbourne last Friday. And by the way,
how's it looking?
I'll put it to you this way. It will be a small miracle if Royal Melbourne gets up for the November Australian Open.
Really?
A small miracle, in my view. Now, when I was there, I was asking them. They're all super confident. So I believe them because obviously their knowledge in grass and Royal Melbourne and the fescue surrounds, which is the thing that's in question here. They were certain it'd be right. As someone who's just played a lot of golf, it would be a miracle for it to be, or the fringes to be at 100% anyway.
Okay. Well,
anyway, but good luck. Richard Forsyth is the man in charge. And Richard, if you can get it up, you're a genius, an absolute genius. And by the way, he may well be. Where was I? Anyway, so I'm playing Royal Melbourne Golf Club. I'm playing Royal Melbourne and, I'm playing golf, so I'm not looking at my phone, but I did at one stage and I had a missed call from a bloke called John Huggan.
Yeah, I know Huggy. Okay.
So Huggy is a very well-respected golf journalist.
Yeah, he's a good writer.
He's a very, very good writer. I used to get him on my old radio golf show called Chasing Birdies. Yeah. And it's fair to say that John's brand is sour.
Sure.
he doesn't pat too many people on the back. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, sour, whatever you want to.
Sour, even grumpy.
It's old school
grump style golf commentary.
You get on well with him, Dan.
Oh, wow. He's a bit old man yelling at clouds, is he?
That's his go. So the other thing is that he's also very, very, very good friends with Michael Clayton. And if you don't know, Michael Clayton's name is on St Andrews Beach. It's not on Peninsula Kingswood anymore. It's not on Victoria anymore because he left OCCM and now it's just OCM. Anyway, so I thought to myself, I wonder if John Huggan is on that top 100 golfcourses.com group who are charged with something that is extremely important, Nick, and you know this.
Yep.
Top 100s and top 50s are extremely important. And if we see any bias, we're going to call it out.
Sure.
So I finished my round and called him back. I forgot what time it was in Europe, and I called him at 4 o'clock in the morning. Okay. I didn't leave a message, but I thought he'd just call me back. But because the association between John and Mike, I thought, okay, maybe John Huggan's one of Mike Clayton's minions here and trying to look after Mike again. So I went back to my man, and this is the man who's got the information to who is on this list, who is judging this list. And now a complete brick wall has been put up to where even my guy, who's the nicest bloke in the whole world, and if he called you and asked you for a favour, you'd give him the favour like that. I won't tell you who it is because he's working behind the scenes for me and he doesn't want that to get out.
Okay.
But the biggest brick wall has been put up in front of him. So these people, the top 100 golfcourses.com, I'm talking to you. Where's my camera, Dan? I'm talking to you guys. I want you to come on the show and I want you to tell us who are the judges, because this is very, very important. So is John Huggan one of the judges on this? I would like to know.
The interesting thing about the whole top 100 list is, yes, it's controversial, but it's served its purpose because we're still talking about it a month later. That's
right. But we're talking about it. And by the way, because there are some extreme things that are wrong.
Yeah,
not because, if you put, for instance, if you put, Royal Melbourne in front of Augusta instead of Augusta in front of Royal Melbourne, or, little things like that.
Sure.
Who cares? That's opinion. But when golf courses are completely left out, like Victoria Golf Club, which is just a top 100 golf course every day of the week, and when golf courses like Peninsula Kingswood, both of them, are completely ignored in the top 100, when clearly they're top 100 golf courses, then we want to know why. So to the people at the top 100 golfcourses.com, thank you, Dan. We want to talk to you. So can you get in touch with us, please? We expect an email from Dan Bradley because we'd like you to come on the show and explain yourselves. We'd like to know what's going on.
I actually think it's great to invite them on and to get them on, because if they do indeed stand behind this list, if they genuinely believe this list is valid and right and has been done with the best of intention and with good research.
With integrity, Dan.
With integrity. If they have done that and they believe that and stand by that, you would think that they'd want to come on and actually defend it.
Of course they would. But if they don't, then we can only assume they can't defend the indefensible.
Yeah.
He's quite giddy over here.
I love it. I love
he
all
loves
this stuff. I do. I absolutely love it.
I'll tell you what I do love.
I can smell a rat. Anyway.
Aldrich Potgieter's golf swing with the driver. Did you see the power he had?
Well, I know we've got one clip. So a lot of people in this part of the world are usually driving to work when the golf is on. But there was one driver, I think he hit, was on the 14th hole. It's par 5.
It could have been 17.
This is it. Dan's got it up. Well, just check this out, folks.
Down the right.
This ball speed is outrageous.
I think I felt that go by me, Ian.
That was crazy.
I think I felt that go by me,
196.
196 miles per hour.
You know how far that went?
How far?
370 yards.
Is that the carry? Or was it?
I don't
might
know.
have carried, 360 yards?
Maybe. It didn't run very far, I know that. It was crazy.
Anyway, so before we talk about power in the game, can we have a look at his swing sequence? I sent you a swing sequence, and it's from the front view, Dan, and we'll get it up in a tick. What I couldn't get over, Nick, and if you don't know, by the way, he grew up in Western Australia, where you're from, in Perth.
Yeah, that's right. He used to play a bit of golf with Minwoo Lee.
Is that right?
Back in the day,
imagine those two trying to outdrive each other. You got a little jockey and you got a bloke who looks like a power lifter.
How would you love that, wouldn't you?
You'd love to be the third person in that group just to check out what was going on.
Just incredible. But they immigrated from South Africa to Australia, to Perth, and then I think they moved back. All right, so here we've got it up now, Dan. Now, first things first, just pause it there for us, Dan, for a second. But the grip, if we just go back to the start and look at his setup, if you can just rewind it back there, Dan, his left hand, I mean, you can see everything on that low. He must have a 5-knuckle grip going almost.
Oh, his palm is sitting on top of the shaft.
Yes, exactly. But it's a beautiful setup, nice straight left arm, with the shaft, everything's lined up beautifully.
Yeah.
But watch the turn here, mate.
Oh, the left shoulder goes so far past his chin, it's not funny. And it's a Rory McIlroy. I mean, that's, what do you call that? That's 90. That's like 120 degrees.
Yeah. Just pause it there.
Yeah.
My goodness. But that first move, you can see it's just shift the power. And for our audio listeners, you're going to have to watch this on YouTube, but watch the lower half from here.
Well, and just before you do, Dan, he has started down and you can see where his shoulders, that's where most people turn their shoulders to. He's on the way down and he's still got what most golfers would call a full shoulder turn.
I don't even get back that far on my backswing.
That's right. That's right. And he's on the way down, folks.
But watch the lower half and watch his feet, how they actually go backwards. His left foot's going to go backwards, gets out the way, boom, right there.
Yeah, and if you could rock and roll a little bit for us, Dan, now go back again and go back a little bit further and watch how the left hip now goes up.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that.
Oof.
And the forearms stay together all the way through.
Yeah.
There's a little drill. I know our very good friend Lynch does the commentary with us. Why have I forgotten?
Ryan.
Ryan, excuse me, Ryan. I do know your name.
I'm going to say Dale.
Ryan has a look at my golf swing every once in a while. Okay. So Ryan does this little drill where he puts like a spiky ball sort of thing in between the forearms. Mm-hmm. And you got to try and keep the forearms together all the way through the swing. And quite often, it falls out down the hitting area. Apparently, the bloke who can do it all the way is Brooks Koepka. Brooks can keep it. But I reckon our man, Aldrich, he's going to be one of these guys who could keep the forearm, the forearm ball all the way through impact.
Yeah. Speaking of Brooks, by the way, Aldrich's dad, I don't know if you've got a picture of this here, Dan, but his dad looks like a 55, 60-year-old Brooks Koepka, doesn't
wearing a Titalist hat. I think you're right.
Someone put that on social media, and I thought, wow, that is Brooks. Put another
look a little bit like Brooks.
Put another 20 years on him.
All right, so you got these guys, Nicholas, swinging at 130 miles per hour clubhead speed, producing 196 miles per hour ball speed and hitting it straight.
Yeah. So his coach, Justin Parsons, I think is his name, he said, look, he's got all this power. He's 20 years old, by the way. Yeah. And the playoff that we had for the, what was it called, the Rocket Mortgage, there was, I think, a 20-year-old, a 30-year-old, and a 40-year-old. We had 3 decades. Right. But his coach says, what I'd like to see him do is just cruise in the mid-180s. Yeah. And that's cruising speed for him. Because the harder he hits it, well, then it can go offline a bit more. He hits his 7-iron 200 yards through the air.
That's right.
That's 182 metres. He's got me by 40 metres with a 7-iron. I mean, that is insane how far he hits it. But so in a way, he's almost trying to dial him back. Now, the power it comes from, and where does the power come from? If you look at his lower half, he's got a big butt.
Huge. It's like the 21-year-old Jack Nicklaus.
And that's the engine, right? But the other thing, apparently, where it comes from is he played rugby, so he's got great hand-eye coordination, but he was also wrestling. And apparently his power really comes from the wrestling.
He's a wrestler?
He was a wrestler when he was young.
Oh, how good is this?
And that's where a lot of the strength comes from, because you've got to use your core a lot and you've got to obviously use your lower half a lot.
So is that the wrestling where they wear the funny hat with
I would
the covers
imagine
the
so.
ears?
I don't know. I just read it in an interview.
Not the wrestling where he's jumping off the turnbuckle and doing backflips and stuff like that.
No, a lot of grappling on the ground, I would say. Right. Okay. So, anyway.
That's the good way to get strong.
Yeah.
Any of that good. Wrestling stuff.
And fit too.
Okay, so you and I both want big hitters like this brought back a little bit for the good of the game.
No, I don't mind the speed. All I want is them to use smaller sweet spots and a ball that spins more. So they can have the power. That's fine. But guess what will happen with that reduced technology? They're not going to go at it as hard because they can't control it.
Yeah. So Titleist put out a what's in the bag for their man, because he's a Titleist man. And I was really interested. By the way, Titleist, the golf ball, had 12 wins this week.
Nice.
12 worldwide wins, the Titleist golf ball. So if you're not using the Pro V1 or the Pro V1X or the Tour Soft or whatever, what are you doing? I mean, it's time to make the switch.
It's 12 tournaments. I've only got 6 of my Ping Global results.
Yeah, we're going to have to update the Ping Global. So anyway, they had a what's in the bag for Aldrich. And it's interesting. He actually he's got the brand new, put it on me, Dan, because there's a nice little sign in the background. See there, yeah, all the new irons. So he's got the new irons in the bag. So he's got half of the T100s, And then he's got the T150s and the 5-iron and the 4-iron.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's got his woods, just a 9 degree.
Does he carry a 3-wood or anything?
Yeah, he's got a 3-wood. Yeah,
he
he's got a 3-wood.
Okay.
But what I noticed was...
I'm thinking of Ben Arndt. He doesn't carry one.
He is using the red number, which is the Pro V1X. So he's actually using the ball that spins. So even these guys who are hitting the ball with this speed, they're using balls that spin now. Rory McIlroy has gone back to the spinning ball of the of the TaylorMade version.
Yep.
So the spin doesn't seem to be it's not that big a deal to the longest hitters, it seems. I mean, the ball would actually probably go further if they were using a golf ball that didn't spin as much. But these guys are finding a way. And this is why it's getting more and more important. I know just from my kids where I take them down the driving range, they don't want to hit. I mean, they don't play much golf, my kids. Yep. They could care less about the 7-iron.
No.
Or a pitching wedge. They could care less.
You know what they want to hit?
It's because the easiest club in the bag to hit today is the driver.
Correct. Yeah.
It's the easiest club to hit. Now,
it used to be the hardest.
It used to be the hardest. So that's where golf has been turned on its head. And then when you give people who have been in the game of golf for a long time, like later this week, we've got a little kid called Jasper Zhu coming in. He's been playing golf for a long, long time.
Yep.
Who knows where Jasper's going to end up, but this is what we're dealing with. You got kids who are proficient, black belt in golf by the time they're 12. Instead of trying to learn how to hit the hardest club in the bag to make your birdies, it's a picnic hitting the easiest club in the bag to make your birdies. And this is where golf has changed. Now, I'm at a point too now where the smaller club, the smaller sized head has got to come in very, very soon.
At the pro level.
I'm
not talking about parameters.
I'm talking about scratch golf. If you're playing in a scratch competition, that's not at your golf club. They're called Ivor Wittens in Victoria. They're the big tournaments for amateur golfers. There's a Ivor Wittens circuit. Whatever the equivalent is right around the country, and college golf and the British Amateur where they just played. Any kind of high-level amateur golf and high-level professional golf until you get to the seniors. Seniors, you can do whatever you like, whatever's in the rules of golf. But there has to be a point now where the driver head size has to come down.
Yeah. Well, you're seeing golf course where they played in Detroit. I think it was 400-yard holes, and he's got a 30, 40-yard pitch into the green after a 360, 70-yard drive. So, yeah.
Well, let's say Aldrich, he'd be a great target to get down for the Aussie Open at Royal Melbourne.
Oh, it'd be brilliant. Imagine if he hit a driver everywhere
around
Royal Melbourne.
I want to go through it. I want to go through Royal Melbourne. So we'll get him on the first hole, which is 1 West.
1 West.
He hits a drive, 370 yards.
Well, we'll go further because it's going to be rolling more.
Rolling as well.
Yep.
So
he'll get up to 400.
Driver.
He'll get a lot of 400-yard drives at Royal Melbourne.
Lob wedge.
Yep.
Second's a par 5.
Yep.
Now, I played it the other day. I hit driver 3-wood into the wind.
He'd be hitting a wedge in.
He'll hit driver wedge into a par 5. Then we go to 1 East.
1 East.
What iron's he going to – it's a par 4, folks. What iron is he going to knock on the green?
Probably a 3-iron.
3-iron. Yeah,
something like that.
He's got a 2-iron and a 3-iron in the bag, thanks to the what's in the bag. So he knocks the 3-iron on. Next hole I'll test him, the second.
There's no point hitting driver there for him. So I think he just hits a 3-iron and a wedge in.
3-iron and a wedge.
Yep.
And by the way, his 3-iron would go how far past yours with my driver? It would go 20 yards past, I reckon.
Probably, I would say so.
20 yards. His 3-iron would go 20 yards past how far I hit a driver. Yeah. So I'd hit driver and a 7-iron to the second on the east.
The fun one would be 4 East. That's the next one. The par 4 down the hill. I'd love to. He'd knock it on the green there with his driver.
Yes.
He would reach it.
And that becomes 15 on the composite. So if you're going to go back, 15 on the composite. So that they actually play 5.
Oh, you're right.
They play the par 3.
Gotcha.
It's a wedge, probably, maybe less. Gap wedge. The next hole,
the greatest par 3 in Australia. That one.
The 6th hole around the corner, which is one of the most famous golf holes. He might just take driver and knock it to the front apron. He might.
Well, let's not go through the whole thing.
So the point of the story is, folks, that a beautiful classic Royal Melbourne composite gets turned into a driver and putt golf course.
Pitch and putt. Yep.
And we don't want to see that happen because Royal Melbourne can't buy any more land, and we want to keep it the same. So I don't think, if we get a tiny little driver head, how much is it going? It's just it might affect him 15 yards. That's it. But the off-centre hit,
Oh,
that
then it gets
is
interesting.
what we're interested in. So if the sweet spot is a 20-cent piece instead of a 50-cent piece,
Yep.
then he might start spraying a couple. And that's what we'd like to see. We want you to hit the middle of the driver to get the middle of the fairway, that sort of stuff.
But you still got to chip and putt and manage your way around
Yes.
the course. And on the opposite end of the spectrum, there was a really good tweet put out by Jenny Shin from the LPGA.
I saw this. There was a good question.
Dan will probably get it up
There
here.
it is.
What does that say, Dan? It's a bit hard for me to read.
It's brilliant what Riggs Barstool is doing. Some of us LPGA golfers need a haters series where we play against the amateur male golfers that look down on female LPGA pros.
Yeah, and there is this thing.
There's some haters out
Yeah,
there.
there are scratch golfers in America who think they're just as good as the women.
Yes.
Now, I've probably given my answer away there, but I want to ask you. I mean, you play with scratch golfers. We've basically all got the same handicapping system these days right around the world. So I see some of the scratch players at my golf course, and they're mighty fine players.
Yep.
You know, you've got to scratch. That is a lifelong dream for so many players to get the scratch. But, Nick, would they be able to beat an LPGA Tour pro over 4 rounds?
Not a chance in hell.
Not a chance in hell.
Not a chance in hell.
No way.
To give you an idea, I think
No way.
Min Woo and Min Ji play against each other quite regularly.
Yeah.
And what has to happen is Min Woo takes his driver out the bag.
Yeah.
Not allowed to use the driver. And then
Yeah.
they have a competition. And I think it's pretty level.
Yeah.
It's pretty even.
Yeah,
so
that's
that
right.
gives you an idea how good the rest of the game is for someone like Min Ji.
I was going to say, I played on Friday, and this isn't fluff my own pillows, but I was off +3 at Royal Melbourne. I'm not even close, right? And that's 3 better than scratch.
Yeah.
So +3, if I was playing Minji Lee or Jenny Shin or whoever over 4 rounds off their tees, wherever, I can't beat them, folks. There is just no way. Not, I mean, you've got to be. I would say
I've told
maybe
this.
+4 or +5.
Yeah.
You're going to be in the ball game, and not someone with tour experience either.
Yeah,
They can't count. Someone who played as a professional, got their amateur status back. They're still playing off +4. I'd probably say you're going to be close.
You're going to be close, yeah.
But just an amateur, born and bred, never turned pro, got down the scratch. If you think you can beat these girls over 4 rounds, you're kidding yourself.
I've said before, a 10 handicapper is closer to a scratch marker than a scratch marker is to a tour pro. That's
Yes.
on the men's side.
Yes, that's accurate.
So, and you go, well, hang on, 10 shots? Well, that's because tour pros play the hardest version of every course every week.
Yeah.
Now, the women are pretty close to the men at the same time. It's the only difference is the length. Obviously, Aldrich, I mean, he's hitting 100
Crazy.
yards past us and probably past LPGA players. I mean, my driving distance when I was on tour was averaged around 270, 270 yards. I think he's leading the tour now at almost 330.
Yeah.
So he's got me by at least 60 off every hole.
And I think the mid-range is now 300 yards.
Yes, the average
That's
is
the mid.
300.
Yeah, the average
now
now
for the
is
women,
300.
that's obviously different. I'd probably be an average length, maybe slightly above average on the LPGA tour. I might be one of the longest at 270 or something like that. But at the same time, you've still got to control your ball into the green. You've got to have an amazing short game. The women are deadly with their irons and their putters and their wedges. And a scratch marker, I'm sorry, but you're not deadly.
See, this is what I want to happen, right? This is what I want to happen. I want the LPGA tour to get some of these scratch markers and give them a spot.
Yes.
Give them a spot in the tournament.
That'd be good, actually.
Right.
I like that.
That's what I want. And I don't want them playing with, some of the girls who are, 100 on the list. I want them playing with top 50s where people will be watching.
Yep.
And I want to embarrass them. I would love nothing more than these characters to shoot 76 or 77.
That would be fantastic.
Oh, it would be so good. It would be, it would be, Nick, so good for the game.
I think we
see
we might have to try and do that
Well,
during our coverage.
Well,
down
maybe
here.
we should do it. Who do we have to talk to get somebody?
Yeah, I'll talk to the PGA.
The PGA.
Yeah, because we have these WebEx Players Series events, right?
Yes.
We could actually get some of the scratch male markers to play on the women's tees.
Yeah, not
Anyway.
silly. It's not silly. Are we going to have a quick chat about Harrington and Roger Maltby and the mini meltdown these two? We can just talk
I think
for a
we
minute.
Yeah, I think we have to.
Just for a minute.
Oh,
So
yeah.
if you don't know, Patrick Harrington don't want to go early on the Ping Global results, but he won the US Senior Open. I think it's his second major.
Second one.
Well done, Patrick. You're a very good player. But he lost his ball, or he's looking for his ball in the second round. Roger Maltby was following him, and Roger didn't help look for Patrick's ball.
Yeah, and there was a reason for it.
Right. So, I mean, I've been a course guy many times. You're not always in the position to help somebody look for their golf ball because you've got other things to do, right?
You've got your producer in your ear going, "Hey, we need you to talk about this and that."
Let's play what Roger had this. Well, they had a tiff after the round. Anyway, can we play it, Dan? Let's see what. Turn it up. Turn the music up. Turn it up. Turn it up.
No, never on a golf course start looking at somebody looking. You've played golf all your life. You understand. There you go. You understand the etiquette in the game. You don't stand looking at somebody looking for a You've played golf for 40 years. You've played golf for 40 years. You don't stand. Well, I can tell you, as the etiquette of the game is, you don't stand looking at somebody looking for a golf.
Still going.
Yeah.
You told me.
Still going. Now Roger's going back.
You don't stand looking at somebody looking for something. That's all I'm saying.
Caddy gets pushed away.
Yeah, Padraig's caddy, Ronan, his brother-in-law, trying to say, "Look,
stop this.
Let's move on.
Let's stop it. Look, that'll do us. That'll do us."
You look for golf balls when you've been out as a on-course
if I'm
commentator?
in position to.
Yeah.
If I'm in position to, but if I'm not in position to, I can't. Anyway, Patrick apologised after. Yeah. Not long after.
Yeah. Well, it's easy to apologise when you've won, right? So
very
it was
easy
after the fact. But I think in Roger Maltby's defence, where the ball and where they were searching for, there wasn't much coverage, so he couldn't, talk. And he had someone in his ear saying, "Look, you need to keep us updated, et cetera, et cetera." So he wasn't able to look for the ball. At the end of the day, Padraig, don't hit the ball there, number one.
Yeah.
I know that's not part of the game. It does happen.
Yeah.
Two, you've also got plenty of other fans looking around.
Looking anyway.
And I think Roger Maltby said, "I don't think he's going to find that one anyway." It's sort of really deep in there. So, yeah.
Well, look. Unfortunately, some professional golfers when we're caught in a weak moment, we can be a bit selfish.
A little bit.
Just a little bit. In a very weak moments. And Patrick, I think, has just been caught out here a little bit selfish.
Hey, before we go to the CERN, Nick, I noticed that Mark did not bring any coffee in today.
Yes.
Yeah, it wasn't my turn.
No.
And that's why.
Very good decision after what happened last week, which we didn't talk about on the pod.
No, we didn't.
And we should have.
We have this beautiful green tablecloth here.
Oh, you got rid of the stain? You did. You did get rid of the stain.
So Mark spilled his coffee on our green. You can sort of see a bit of it here, there on our table.
Yep.
Spilled his coffee on it last week, and we had to get it dry cleaned, and we had to get it hemmed as well.
Mate, I'm happy to
cost
pay.
a small fortune.
How much did it cost?
$90.
It did cost $90 to dry clean a tablecloth.
And to get it hemmed.
It had to be hemmed.
Why did it have to be hemmed?
Because it would have, what's the word? Frayed.
Frayed, yeah. That's an expensive spill, which actually, have a listen to this one. I had an expensive spill once playing the Nike Tour back in the late 90s. Alana and I, we got billeted out. You know how you get billeted?
They're always nice families, aren't they?
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah. We're in Hershey, Pennsylvania. Hershey, staying with a lovely couple. I think they were called the Bradleys, actually.
Is that where Hershey chocolate comes from?
Hershey chocolate, yeah, exactly. Okay. Playing a Nike Tour event up that way. And anyway, one of the nights, Alana and I, our billets are still at work. We decide, right, we're going to get some takeout. We'll get some Italian.
Right.
So I go down and pick it up, bring it back. We have some spaghetti bolognese and all this. Beautiful house. It's got this lovely plush cream carpet all the way through the house.
Oh, no.
Oh, dear.
No.
And it's pretty dark when I got back. I go up the stairs, around to our room and, grab some, say, Alana, we're here. We go back down to the kitchen. Anyway, turn all the lights on and all of a sudden we see the trail of red.
Oh, no.
The bag had been leaking.
Oh, no.
Spaghetti sauce all over the house.
A stranger's house.
A stranger's house.
Who was doing you a favour.
We got billeted. And I tell you what, we started cleaning like you've never seen anyone clean before, but we couldn't get it out.
Couldn't get it out.
And the looks on these people's on these people's faces when they came home, they were lovely, but you could just tell they were so pissed.
Oh, dear.
And I hate to think what the cleaning bill eventually. We offered to pay and everything, but they said no, it's okay. But oh my gosh,
Did you pay?
No. Well, they said no. Please don't pay and all this. We ended up, buying them dinner throughout the week and things like that. But they said, no, don't worry about it. We understand it happens. But I thought, oh, gosh, we just felt so bad about it.
Maybe they updated their dirty old cream carpet.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what happened. Maybe it was a good
Maybe it was actually a good thing, yeah. I might have actually said, I think it's Alana's fault. No, I didn't, obviously. It was all me.
All right, we're due for a break, aren't we?
Yeah, see you in a sec.
All right, see you on the 10th tee.
Oh my word.
Titalist GT, a new class of drivers.
We're live from our studio at Titleist and FootJoy headquarters. We all know the number one ball in golf is Titleist and the number one shoe and glove in golf is FootJoy. We're here thanks to the Golf Clearance Outlet. They beat everyone's prices. Ping will always help you play your best. Turn your bogeys into birdies with the Watch My Numbers app, and Better, the fastest and easiest betting app in Australia. That's Better. Now, back to Talk Birdie-Tome. Here's Nick and Mark.
So we're leading into the British Open at Royal Portrush, and no doubt, what is it? Irish Open week, and then Scottish Open.
Scottish is the week before. No, they've actually got the BMW International Open on this week in Munich.
Yeah, I love that tournament.
Which is their signature event for BMW. I played it many times.
Yeah.
Interesting course. They go pretty low. The final hole, the par 5/18th, is a really good hole actually.
No,
quite a lot of water
event
around, but we had some Aussie winners there as well.
My recollection is that my cousin Steve Allen won it.
Could have.
I know Chucky would have won it.
I'm pretty sure Chucky's won there. Yeah.
There's been a lot of Australian winners at the BMW.
Yes. No, absolutely. But
how close did you get?
I always remember it was a low cut whenever I played it.
Yeah.
I think I had maybe a top 10 once, something like that. But it was a to event. I loved driving. I mean, the courtesy.
Tell me about the courtesy cars.
The courtesy cars.
Tell me about the courtesy cars
on the Autobahn. Back to Munich. We're put it this way: we were going fairly fast in those BMWs.
250.
Yeah, around about that. But they didn't feel like it. Didn't feel like the scary part about the Autobahn over there is someone's always passing you.
Oh wow!
I've never been
So
to Germany.
fast.
I've been to Germany. I did the cruise from Amsterdam to Budapest. We went through Germany, and I played a golf course. I forget which one it was. Anyway, I've been there, but I've never been on the Autobahn.
Plus, the other thing they do for you at the tournament, if you want to go, there's a local racetrack nearby. If you want to go test out some of the new BMWs.
Do your own hot lap?
Away you go. You can go and drive. So I remember Richard.
They throw you the keys, go for your life.
I remember Richard Green, who's a real rev.
Yeah, he's a good driver.
He's very good. He would go out there all the time and do it. So
That's probably the only reason he turned up.
Who knows?
Richard Green would
fun event anyway.
Would absolutely love that.
So we've got the BMW, then the Scottish, and then the British. So
when's the Irish?
Irish is in September. It's been moved.
When did they do that? Maybe they did last year.
Maybe. I'm not sure.
Oh yeah.
Anyway.
All right, time for the top five. Thanks to Southern Golf Club.
Top five.
The Talk Birdie-Tome Top 5, thanks to Southern Golf Club.
Top five.
I'm surprised you haven't changed the opener to a top 6 when Nick does it.
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
Yeah.
If you get some time, Dan.
Yeah. Well, we could have done a top 4 with you last week.
Why?
Well, because you maybe did a couple of maybe you did the top 4.
We can get
top 4 difficult first opening holes.
Yeah, that's right.
So you did 4.
You can't
I only
complain.
did 4.
You did.
Yeah, but we've had a couple of suggestions coming through.
Okay,
we have had a
good.
couple, and
Good.
we'll read them out probably next week. We'll collate a few more.
Well, this week's top 5 or possibly top 6 is the top 5 power swings in the men's game on tour that I love.
Right.
So, and it's really because we saw Aldrich Potgieter.
Yeah.
I think it's Potgieter or Potgieter?
Potgieter.
Potgieter. Okay.
Because there are some power swings on tour that we've seen in the past that are just hopeless.
No. Yeah, true. Very true.
Like for instance, I'll give you one that I don't like, and he's won 2 Masters, and he's a left-hander. Bubba Watson.
Sure.
I wouldn't give you 10 cents for a Bubba swing.
Yeah. It's very
That's
homemade.
personally. It's
but
a homemade
It's ones that I like the
swing.
look of. Yeah.
It's capable of winning green jackets on multiple times, but I wouldn't play golf if I had that swing.
One I do like that doesn't look like a power swing but it generates enormous power, number 5, is Ryan Fox from New Zealand. Love that golf swing.
Good home
Love his
swing.
attitude on the golf course as well. Fast player. Brilliant. Number 4 is Aldrich Potgieter, who we just saw win in Detroit. Number 3.
Hang on, just on his win too. Do you know he's only the 4th player now under the age of 21 international to win on the PGA Tour?
Wow.
So you got Tom Kim.
Yeah.
You got Seve Ballesteros.
Okay. Sergio?
Serge.
Maybe?
No. Rory. Rory's one. Okay. And there's one other. Maybe it was Sergio.
I don't know. Yeah.
Maybe it might have been Serge.
I'm just guessing.
Is he under 21?
Okay. He's 20.
He's only 20.
Oh, my gosh.
He's only 20.
He doesn't look 20.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, he won the British Amateur at 17.
Yeah.
He won on the Corn Ferry Tour at 19, and now he's won on the PGA Tour at 20.
He's the oldest looking 20-year-old in the world.
He's a prodigy.
He was leading our BMW Australian PGA after 1 or 2 rounds as well, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Or he was at least up there.
He was setting a bit of a trend of taking 54-hole leads and not converting them. I mean, he's only 20, but you don't want to get into that trend too early because that can scar you a bit. So.
I'll tell you, he did very well in the playoff. I know that.
Yeah, very good. All right, so we have Fox at 5, Aldrich at 4. Number 3, I got to play with him several times and it was just wonderful. But he was probably past his power prime at that stage, and that's our own Greg Norman, the Shark.
Oh, mate.
But remember in the 80s watching him full flight with that persimmon and just lashing at it, the legs flailing, everything moving. It was beautiful.
And he was the only person who could properly hit a wooden driver off the deck. And he was a freak. I remember Dad taking me to see him for the first time at Huntingdale. And the 4th hole was what used to be a little dog leg around the right. It's going to be quite a different hole now, folks, if you remember it. And my dad, when I used to play with him, he'd hit his driver and he would just get to the corner.
Yeah.
And we waited behind the green and Greg, of course, went straight at the green. And I can remember looking, we got to where Dad used to drive and I used to say, Dad, that's where your ball finishes and his ball's still going up.
I love it. Love it. Yeah. No, he was so impressive, the Shark, in his heyday. Number 2, a guy that I played with a few times, and I remember the first tee shot watching him. We're at the World Match Play Championship, and he unloads one off the first tee. Tiger Woods, I'm talking about. And I look over at my caddy, Wilbur, and his mouth is going like this, going,
really?
Just watching the ball disappear in the distance. It was something to behold. The power this guy had was phenomenal.
And his ability out of the rough too.
Yeah.
I mean, just to bulldoze a 7-iron out of an un-7-ironable lie.
Yeah, just incredible.
Was crazy.
Yeah. And then number 1, well, he's a personal favourite, Jack Nicklaus, of course, that golf swing. You see him, I mean, we were talking earlier about Aldrich reminds us of a young Jack Nicklaus. Yeah. The thighs, the big butt, and how much power he generates from his lower half. And Jack used to do that. And Jack Grout, his coach, used to hang onto his hair when he would hit shots to keep his head still. And maybe that's why he had the little tilt on the backswing. Yeah. Remember that with the little the head cock.
Well, that was all to get some more shoulder turns. When I read his books, I read all of his books, I think, when I was a kid, and. Yeah, maybe it was so he didn't lose too much hair when Jack had a handful of it.
But Jack's my number 1. But I will say this: in person, the guy with the most power I've ever seen. A few years ago, I was at the Orlando, the PGA trade show in Orlando when I was living over there. A guy called Kyle Berkshire, who was the long drive champion. I just sent Dan the video earlier.
Did you?
Of
He's
this
the guy who put a hole in the Golf Channel hitting area screen.
Yes. Watch this golf swing, because what happens is he hits the ball so hard that his hat usually falls off. So just watch this. He's got to readjust the hat. But his left leg just goes. Play that again if you can, Dan, because have a look at his left leg. He's got to clear his left side so much, and it just goes straight backwards.
Like you don't even see the club come down.
No.
Yeah, he gets to the top, and then the next thing you see is a follow-through.
Yeah, and that was 7 years ago with the technology they had back then, and these drives were going close to 400 yards. Now that'd be probably 430 or something like that with the technology we have now. He was hitting his 5-iron over 300 yards.
Yeah, okay. Hey, I know we got 9-year-old Jasper Zhu coming in this week.
Yeah.
In the spirit of hitting the ball a million miles, why don't we get Jordan Bovalina, who's Australia's longest hitter, to come in, and we better get him we don't want him to put a screen. We don't want him to put a hole through this screen, Jordan. So he might have to bring in a net or something. But we'll get him to talk us through how he hits the ball so far. So we'll do that next week.
Sounds good.
Yeah, good idea. Ready for a bit of feedback, guys?
Yes, please.
Okay. Okay, we did a bonus pod last week on 7 Mile Beach golf links in Hobart.
And well done, Dan, because it came up sensational.
Oh, it was really good. Impossible not to with those pictures. It's a stunning place.
Those 7 Mile Beach people must be wrapped.
Oh.
The presentation that you did, it was incredible.
Well,
and the
it was
music
great.
at the end of the pod. If you haven't seen it, folks, go back and have a look. It's brilliant.
Yeah, go and check it out on YouTube. It's really good. Lots of feedback on 7 Mile Beach. Michael has said this is a world top 100 course in the making. It will be equal to Cape Wickham, King Island, and Ocean Dunes for sure.
Yes, well, I hope so. I hope so. Gee, the pictures look amazing. So
Yeah, they do.
fingers crossed.
Paul Langford Jones has said, hey, Marco, you're going to have 4 under there.
Easy. Yep.
No problem.
No worries.
Yeah.
Damien.
Front 9.
Damien Irving. That is magnificent. The most accessible of the elite links courses in Tassie in terms of location, walkability, weather, and playability for all skill levels. The short par 4s are incredible.
Yeah. And look, it was told to me once by a English caddy. He said the most important thing for a links course to do is actually play like a links course. So that's what we want. We want an honest bounce. You know, sometimes they build these links courses and they call it a links course, and it might be in the middle of a dune, you know, and the ball doesn't bounce and do what links courses do.
Sure.
But my understanding is that this one is designed not only to look like a links course, but to play like a links course.
Okay.
And that's going to be fantastic if that is the case.
Mark, last week you made a comment that golf is a team sport.
Yep.
And Keith heard that comment, and Keith said, Mark, you say golf is a team sport. That got me wondering, who is the caddy who has won the most majors?
Yeah, I think it's Stevie. He's got to be up there. He's won 17 of Tiger's 18, hasn't he? No, he's won 16 of Tiger's 18.
I'd like to know what Jack's caddy that he had through the years. Remember the
Well,
guy
he
with the
had
big
Rabbit.
He had
Yeah,
the afro.
He had Rabbit there for a little bit. And no, Gary Player had Rabbit. Who did Jack have? He had the big tall guy. But I think Jack used to have a local caddy when he went to the British Open. He used to grab local caddies there for a little bit before it became
Jack always
truly
used to say the
professional.
caddy's not that important, funnily enough. So
I'm trying to think. So Steve Williams won. See, Steve Williams has got to be up there because he won with Adam Scott as well at the Masters.
True.
So there's at least 17.
Mm-hmm.
There's 17 majors just for Steve Williams.
Okay.
That's going to be hard.
Makes sense.
That's going to be hard to catch.
It'll be very hard. We have to get him on. We have to have a chat to him.
I know.
I'll find out who's won. Which caddy's won the most majors.
There's an Aussie, Dean Herden, who's caddied for MB Park, who's won many majors with her. Plus, he's caddied for other players, I think, that have won majors. So he'd be another one that's up there, probably into double figures.
Yeah, okay. Let me get on to AI here and you just continue. I'll find out.
While you get onto AI,
He'll grok it.
while you get onto AI, I'll read this next one here. This is from the Iron Kid. Marco, surely I can't be the first person to tell you that you are a dead ringer for Jean van der Velde.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Look at that.
It's funny, you know, you're not going to. I played in that British Open where he's standing there, and I missed the cut, and I hung around, and I was and people thought I was him at the airport.
Really?
Hey, I come up and said, bad luck. And I said, you don't understand how much bad luck, mate. I shot 82nd in the second round. But they thought we were brothers.
I hate to say it a little bit. There's going back to that picture there, Dan. I think there's a little bit of Patrick Reed there in your face as well. Do you see that at all or not?
No.
No. Okay. Sorry.
Didn't you watch the last couple of rounds of that British Open from a pub getting absolutely hammered, Marco?
Yeah, that's true to form. Yeah.
That's what you do when you miss cuts.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, that's what happened.
All right, another question here or a comment here. Actually, there's a few for you here today, Mark. David has said, Mark, I was very interested when you mentioned that you were mates with Kevin Youngblood.
Yeah.
I had a couple of lessons from him when he was teaching at Eastern Golf Club.
That's right.
I really enjoyed the way he taught.
Yeah, Kevin was a superstar junior player. He was one of these juniors in America who used to shoot 64 to win junior events.
Wow.
Even though the tees are forward.
Yeah.
It didn't matter.
Still got to shoot it.
And he went to SMU, then he came to Texas Tech, and we're still really good friends.
Brilliant.
Now, I've got to, you know what? I just realised, Nick, there's a lot of Mark questions here today, so I apologise.
That's fine. I'm happy to just let him take them all. As long as where he can critique a few, that'd be good.
David went on to say, Mark, have you changed your opinion of Ben Hogan's book, The Fundamentals of Golf? Because I thought some time ago you liked most of it, but not all of it.
That's right. No, I haven't changed my mind, and I still hold a grudge. Yep.
You hold a grudge against Ben Hogan?
That book. Yes, I do. Because he told me to keep my hips still. It's in the backswing.
Have you seen Ben Hogan's hips?
Yeah, I know they turn a
They
lot.
turn so much.
But see, I didn't have YouTube back in those days,
no,
so I took it for granted that he actually tried to keep his hips still. Of course, I was half and halving it, so I was doing Jack Nicklaus my way with a one-piece takeaway, and Greg Norman with a one-piece takeaway, and keeping my hips still.
That didn't work. Yeah.
By the way, Steve Williams has won the most majors.
Okay.
And I think I might have said 18 before. Tiger's only won 15 majors. What was I thinking? So he was on board for 13 of Tiger's 15 majors and Adam Scott. So he's won 14 majors.
Yeah.
Yep.
Message from Dazza here. Hey, Marco, can you rate this score, please?
Oh, yeah. Now, this is a funny one. Have you heard about this?
No.
So
Go on.
What did he shoot off the stick, Dan? He shot 31 on the front and
25. So that's
so he shot a 56.
What's the par?
Yeah, the par's like a 68 or 67.
67. Okay.
So he's done really well, and he shot a 59. And I think he had 44 points. What was his handicap on the day? His handicap.
There's +3 up the top
+3.
there.
So the guy's playing off +3, and he had 44 points. All right. So
wow.
It's a very good. Now there's a
that's 11 under.
Yeah. So he's done very, very well. But this is the most magnificent thing about golf is that on the day he didn't win the comp, and the person who beat him by a shot in the comp, her handicap was 44. So it's the greatest thing about our beautiful game is the handicapping system, and the fact that some bloke off +3 who shot 56 can get beaten in the Stableford comp by a lady playing off 44. It's just beautiful.
That is, as you say, the beauty of this game.
It's
when I
gorgeous.
first moved back to Australia, I joined Woodlands Golf Club.
Yep.
They paid me off a +5, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I was still playing well.
Yeah.
Shot 65, 66 over the weekend, had 37, 38 points.
Yes.
And I won a $5 voucher. Just did not even sniff. Anything.
All right, that's enough feedback today. Time for the Ping Global Results, because Ping will help you play your best.
You could have bought a packet of teas with that $5 voucher.
I could have.
For a Mars bar?
Yeah, maybe.
How's the music sitting, Mark?
That's why I'm talking, Dan. I'm just doing anything to
Still
avoid
not
the music.
enjoying it.
Oh, well, okay. All right. Nick, what do you got?
All right, PGA Tour, they had the Rocket Mortgage in Detroit, where Cam Davis was the two-time defending champion, but unfortunately for him, missed the cut. Wasn't a great week.
See the two-time he defended last year.
Yeah.
Gee, I forgot about that.
Indeed. But South African or West Australian, depending on how you look at it, Aldrich Potgieter won in a three-man playoff against Chris Kirk and Max Grayson. And Chris Kirk had a really good chance on the first playoff hole for the win, but unfortunately couldn't do it. Grayson had a chance on the 72nd hole, but unfortunately couldn't knock it down, and they kept going. And I was hoping they'd play 18 over and over and keep changing the pins, but they never did. They went to different holes all over the golf course, which was fine as well. I don't mind them doing that. So anyway.
Don't think I didn't see that little nipple rub there, Mark.
Oh, was there?
Yes, there was.
Okay.
It was
Apologies if you caught that.
It happened. Keep going, Nick, sorry.
Of the Aussies, Minwoo Lee tied for 13th, and it was a huge cut, by the way. 86 players made the cut.
Wasn't there a story on the cut line this week?
There was a guy called Will Gordon who was on a major medical, and he needed – that's an exemption, folks.
Yeah,
and he needed –
he got sick, or was there an injury?
I think there was an injury. And you have to accrue a certain amount of points when you come back and start playing. I think that this was his last chance, so he needed to make the cut to accrue enough points.
Yes, and if he made the cut, he was home.
He was home. And he birdied the last two holes. He birdied 17 and 18 to make the cut on the number, and it looked as though he was going to miss out. That was a 6 under was what he finished
at. I left home and I thought he'd missed.
Well, I think a guy called Michael Kim 3-putted the last to let all the 6 unders in.
Oh, you joke.
And he put a post out on Twitter saying, my locker is blah, blah, blah in the back, so just send your gifts, boys, all the guys at 6 under, because when someone does that, when they bogey the last to let everyone in, usually you get a few free dinners and things like that from everyone. So it's really good fun. Yeah. But Harrison, anyway, he finished tied for 82nd, which is an unusual number to say because there were 86 people that made the cut.
Yeah.
So anyway, LPGA Tour, they had the Dow Championships in Michigan where it was a pairs format. They played alternate shot one day, best ball the next day. Our own Cassie Porter actually was going really well after round one. She was leading with Gemma Drysdale, the Scot. She ended up finishing, although the pairing ended up finishing in a tie for 6, so they did really nicely there. But the Koreans, Jin Hee Im and Somi Lee, won on the first playoff hole against Americans Megan Kang and Lexi Thompson. First playoff hole, Lexi hit it to 5 feet, and we thought, hang on, this is over. The playoff was an alternate shot, by the way. It wasn't a best ball. So
that's nice.
I like that idea.
That's a good idea.
But Somi Lee then hit it to 9 feet. Her partner, Im, holed the putt, and then Kang missed. So the Koreans got the win. So very well done to them. The rest of the Aussies, we had Karis Davidson, another pink player, tied for 10th with Daniela Darquet, who's Ecuadorian. So funnily enough, the Aussies didn't play together. A lot of the country women played together, but some of the Aussies managed to split up, which was interesting. Live Golf Dallas was going on, and Patrick Reed had a 4-shot lead, I believe, starting the final round. Birdied the first, had a 5-shot lead, and you thought this is all over, but then he played some pretty awful golf for him. Ended up winning in a 4-way playoff against Junichiro Kazuma, Louis Oosthuizen, and Paul Casey. Now, this is Patrick's first win on the LIV Tour, which is kind of surprising. Paul Casey hasn't won on the LIV Tour either, which is another surprise.
Yeah.
So very, very interesting.
He's a star. And well supported too in Dallas. They were
good crowds.
It looked like a good tournament.
Very good
to watch.
crowds.
Good
I
crowds.
saw Brooks Koepka tried to take someone out in the first round, I think, with a tee marker. We saw Rory destroy a tee marker. Well, Brooks did one as well.
Wasn't too bad.
Yeah, almost.
I'll let him off for that one.
Okay. The Crushers, though, they had an 11-shot win over the 4 aces with Legion 13 coming in third. Ripper was tied for 7th.
Who came last?
It was not the Majestics. No, it wasn't them. They finished 10th, I think.
They're lifting.
Yeah, they are. They were
Anytime
cruising.
they don't finish last, they've had a great week.
Yeah. Of the Aussies, Cam Smith was best, tied for 13th. Mark Leishman tied for 25th. Lucas Herbert tied 40th. And Matt Jones tied for 46th. So not a very memorable week for them. They had a little exemption category going with players getting into the Open, and Sergio Garcia got a spot into the British Open because he was, I think, top 5 not already exempt. So that was good for him. He'll be playing his 26th British Open.
Wow.
So congratulations to Sergio. Champions Tour at the US Senior Open, Padraig Harrington, as we mentioned earlier, won his 2nd US Senior Open in a 1-shot victory over Stuart Sink. So well done to him. Mark Hensby was up there most of the way. He was tied for the lead over the first 3 rounds, but faded a little bit in the final round. Tied for 4th for him. Steve Alker tied for 9th. Cam Percy tied for 9th as well. Best of the Australasians. DP World Tour, they had the Italian Open where Frenchman Adrien Saudier had his maiden 2-shot win over countryman, the 22-year-old phenom, this little French guy. Watch him, Martin Couvra.
I've spoken about him before.
Yes,
he's a gun.
He's going to be a gun.
He's a gun.
So Saudier got the win over him. Of the Australasians, Kazuma Kabori tied for 16th was the best, and Daniel Gale tied for 28th. So good solid result for Daniel. On the Ladies European Tour, they had the German Masters, Singaporean Shannon Tan, who was seen down here in Australia a little bit, had a 1-shot win over local German Helen Briam. Amelia Garvey's going along nicely, 3rd for her. So that's her 3rd top 10 in the last 4 weeks for the New Zealander. Of the other Aussies, Madison Hinson Tolshard tied for 14th and Kelsey Bennett tied for 19th. So well done to all the Australasians on tour. They're playing some very good golf, representing us nicely. And that was only 6 tournaments. You said there was 12 tournaments going on. I can only do 6.
Yeah,
so
that's all we need.
We'll leave it at that.
That's all we need. Hey, Dan, just quickly, can you put the camera on me? Because I wanted to show the thing in the background here. I got fitted for the new Titalist T-Series irons this week.
Yes.
Now, I'm not allowed to say anything because there is an embargo.
Well, you are saying something.
But I can tell you this. In the fitting, quite often I've gone in there, I play clubs that are 2 degrees flat. And
are you sure you can say this?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
I can say this, yeah. So I normally play clubs that are 2 degrees flat and are 2 degrees weak. Now, if I ever go in and get fitted, then you're playing with standard clubs basically and you can't get a change. And when spin rates are involved, everything. But with the new T-Series, it's a bit like their drivers. They can make and tweak the club that you're getting fitted with to anything. So I was actually being fitted with a head that was 2 degrees weak and 2 degrees flat. And then you could get the spin rates exactly right.
Wow.
So that's something to look forward to. And I'm not allowed to say how beautiful the clubs look because that's against, I'm just not allowed to say anything like that.
Right.
But that's all, Dan.
Okay. All right.
Good to know you're not allowed to say
there is an embargo in place.
Well, I don't want us to lose our podcast license. So,
I can't say how beautiful they felt.
Okay.
Right. I can't say any of that.
What's the masterclass on today, mate?
Putting.
Yeah. Okay.
Back in a sec. I'm doing it in-house too.
Back in a sec.
Okay, so this week's masterclass, you might have heard me saying in podcasts over the last couple of weeks about players who are hitting up on their putts. I think we had a bit of a deep dive in the Rory McIlroy, missing some crucial putts and how he was hitting up on them so much. I see this all the time when I'm playing with people I play with around, Melbourne and other places. So what we don't want is for you to kind of top the putt and come up too much. That doesn't help anybody. And it also makes you move an awful lot because you're hitting up. Now, I've seen actually people who hit the ball so far up on it, hit behind the ball as well. They actually hit their putt fat because they don't want to go over the ball. Now, I've been saying a lot lately that if you feel like you're hitting down on your putt, so if you feel like it, that's just what you feel like. And if you are a person who hits up on their putts all the time, then if you try to hit down, then what will happen is it'll just level out. You won't actually be hitting down on your putts unless you start taking a divot after the ball. If that starts happening, you are hitting down on your putt. So if you are a person who hits up on their putts too much, or maybe you just want to try the feeling of hitting down on the putt, I guarantee you, if the ball is forward and you are trying to hit down on the putt, I doubt you'll be doing it. And I bet things are just leveling out at the bottom and you'll get that golf ball to start rolling beautifully. You know the perfect pendulum we're all looking for? When you were putting with the long putter, did it actually feel like, because it's a perfect pendulum, did it feel like at any stage that you were hitting up on putts with that long putter?
Yeah, for me it was because I was, with the long putt, I'm just rocking my shoulders. I had to be careful not to really lift my lead shoulder up on the way through.
Was the ball forward or was it right in the middle?
No, it was slightly forward.
Oh.
I always feel you should have it slightly forward.
Yeah, and then so your pendulum putter was coming up when it was forward.
If anything, yes.
Yeah, well, that kind of matches up with what I was saying. So that was interesting. When I was doing it, I was thinking about you. Anyway, terrific week. Investigation will continue. I'm looking forward to hearing from the top100golfcourses.com people. Do we want to have a chat to you? A serious chat.
Would be good. Yep.
Anyway, we'll talk to you next week.
See you boys.
Cheers.
And that's been Talk Birdie to Me, Australia's most popular golf podcast, with Nick O'Hearn and Mark Allen, coming from our studio at Titleist and FootJoy headquarters. As everyone knows, Titleist is the #1 ball in golf, and FootJoy, the #1 shoe and glove in golf. Wherever you get your podcasts, make sure to subscribe, maybe leave a review, and we'd love you to share the pod with a friend who loves their golf. Huge thanks to our fantastic partners. Ping, like they do for Nick O'Hearn, will help you play your best. You can see your local golf shop or professional for a Ping Club fitting. The Golf Clearance Outlet always beat everyone's prices. Visit golfclearanceoutlet.com.au for your nearest store. Watch My Numbers is the most powerful data-based golf app in the world. You can download from the App Store or Google Play. And better, they've got the fastest and easiest betting app in Australia. Download from the App Stores today. Now that's better. Keep in mind, what are you really gambling with? But for now, from our studio at Titleist and FootJoy headquarters, thanks for being a part of the show. We'll see you next time.